Family, the track we're about to interact with right now was brought to my attention via a donation from one of our subscribers. Now, if you want to recommend a song, the link to the PayPal is going to be in the description below because, of course, YouTube yanks 30% of super chats. Guys, I appreciate, as always, your open, curious attention. Back to the video. That's freaky. You hear that weird sound?
Everything above the neck, everything but the imitation of youth must be given up at the desk. Everything but the look that sells. You're 12 looking 20, you're 20 looking 12, and you're tight and you're baby and you're sexy about it, and you're subtle and doe-eyed in a toddler's outfit, and her eyes are crossed and big and bright and bug, and she withers around like a salty slug. There's a beautiful balance to realize and reach when the women act like both a child and a sex beast, men are titillated by that delicate line between sex, song, and nursery rhyme. Over time, you'll not remember normalcy, because normalcy is what you see repeatedly, so there will be nothing to miss. It must be so relieving for you to hear this.
Yo, who is she? Hold on a second. Wait, I got it. I'm going back and listening to that whole... Bro, why is she cooking with so much grease? Damn. Listen, guys, she has absolutely no chaser. She's giving it to us completely straight, no chaser. That was crazy. Pardon me as I go all the way back. Please cook. That was
Everything above the neck, everything but the imitation of youth must be given up at the desk. Everything but the look that sells. You're 12 looking 20, you're 20 looking 12.
That is the first really scary part. You're 12 looking 20 or you're 20 looking 12. My wife and I will be driving and there'll be kids fresh out of school. And you will see 12-year-olds. It's like, why are you allowed to be dressed like that outside? Right? Is it, right? I mean, is our addiction to sex infecting the youth at that level? Or the 20 looking 12, which is like the thirst trap Instagram people who kind of give this kind of childlike, weird child impression, right? Perfect line to kind of encapsulate both problems there.
Up at the desk, everything but the look that sells. You're 12 looking 20, you're 20 looking 12, and you're tight and you're baby and you're sexy about it, and you're subtle and doe-eyed in a toddler's outfit, and her eyes are crossed and big and bright and bug, and she withers around like a salty slug. There's a beautiful balance.
And that's the other part. The withering around like a salty slug. Because, of course, when you're a man and you're watching something, you're at a strip club, let's say, you feel dominant and powerful, and the woman is kind of writhing in this kind of slow and sexual way. And you see that as kind of an alluring, like seduction kind of thing. It seems like what Sofia is saying is like, in her poetic way, that this is the same kind of movement that a slug would do if you poured salt on it, right? It's like what you think is pleasure is actually a result of a deep and hidden pain that you're just that you're not contending with because you're kind of in this selfish act. It's all kind of about you and what you can get from the person in this situation. Continue to cook, please.
To realize and reach when the women act like both a child and a sex beast, men are titillated by that delicate line between sex, song, and nursery rhyme. Over time, you'll not remember normalcy, because normalcy is what you see repeatedly, so there will be nothing to miss. It must be so relieving for you to hear this.
Guys, it's kind of scary when she's, it must be so relieving for you to hear this. Because she's saying, look, if you only care about your ego and your selfish, transient desires, then aren't you relieved to hear that one day the thing that you're trying to combat because you can't deny that what she's said so far is true, right? So she's saying, look, this tension that you have between what you're doing, which something kind of feels wrong about it, and your desire to do it anyway, there'll come a time where you won't even feel wrong about it, right? And she's like, oh, that must be really relieving for you because you're showing yourself to be someone who suppresses the ego. I mean, who, suppresses doing what's right in favor of the ego. So it'll get easier and easier to suppress the truth as you continue falling for it, right? That's a very, very, that's a wound.
If I mimic sex like some kind of clothed recreation, slightly alter your emotional situation, if I transform into masturbation motivation, something that's more open to interpretation, all of a sudden your desire to understand had popped out of your ass. You're a wide-eyed kitten man, your jaw one hinge, like a trapdoor open wide, and in my words will pour like a fucking slip and slide.
Guys, there's something called 4E cognitive science. And one of the E's in 4E cog sci is embodied cognition. She's 100% right. She's saying, like, look, you would be more likely to listen to me if I sexualized myself, right? If I, was like one of these other people who, when they sing you a song, they have to kind of get naked and kind of twerk on camera for you, right? You'll listen to that. Your ears kind of perk up. And that's kind of a sign. That's a sign. She says, because sex is everywhere, right? That's a sign that sex is everywhere. Just the fact that your cognition, your alertness, you become more alert. I wonder if she's going to get to any kind of solution here, because this is very, very dark.
Like a trapdoor open wide, and in my words will pour like a fucking slip and slide. Sex is everywhere, it's everything you see, it's baked into the everyday brain. Sex is everywhere, and if it's not in somebody, put it there, they'll put it there.
Sex is everywhere. You know what's interesting is that society is becoming more and more sexless. We don't have intimacy. We don't have immediate access to intimacy. And so our intimacy is mediated through screens more and more. The American youth are not having sex. I mean, and listen, I listen to Diary of a CEO. That's a really good one to listen to. He has guests on who talk about kind of this problems. Like, so many men are engaging with mediated forms of intimacy, that the immediate forms of intimacy, like sexual intimacy, So yeah, sex is everywhere, on the screen, on the radio, in the music, in the literature, in the art. But I don't know if it's necessarily in lives. Let me know in the comments.
Your hands are down, your pants are settled in for the night. It's time to watch 18-year-olds on a private browser site. But 18 years isn't short enough for you. They have pigtails and Hello Kitty shorts on to undo. They've learned that the closer you look like to a kid, the more money you get from a 42-year-old piece of shit. So on screen they'll touch a dick and act so confused because cluelessness is easier to get off to. There's no button to push for third base. I'm not trying to seduce you, fuckface. I'll be out in your lawn, covered in slop. I get away with so much shit because you think I'm hot. Oh, you'll praise the virgin, self-absorbent. You think your penis is very important, but if something's dirty after you touch it, the problem is your hands, dipshit, cut it.
Oh, geez. Fam, hear me out. Hear me out. It used to be more common that sexual intimacy was kind of, it was reserved for people who had a good name in the community, a good paying job, maybe some land, maybe a property. And then, you would court a woman and you would marry her, and then sexual intimacy would be novel and, a little bit humiliating for both parties. Neither people had engaged with it before. And you're having this moment with this woman, and she's having this moment, with you, and both of you are novices at it, right? And now that it's everywhere, now that access to, sexual intimacy, if you can call what you see on a computer screen an intimate moment, right? You have so much more control. And so sex now is no longer a reward for having a good name in your community. It's no longer a reward for having, land and property to where you can support a woman and, through her pregnancy, if that pregnancy happens. We've eliminated all of those things, and now you can have the same kind of sexual experience in your brain as if it were real sex when you're really just engaging with a screen. And the screen has absolutely no... there's no, it doesn't discriminate between the good and the evil. It's not saying, oh, hey, before you click on this, did you mow your lawn today? Like, did you clean your room? Did you do something nice for someone? What makes you deserving of one of the greatest experiences that humans can have? Right? Do you just want a dopamine rush for no reason? And so you get this, you get a proliferation of men who haven't really, engaged ethically, haven't accomplished anything, but are receiving this constant dopamine reward as if they had. And then, women just become objects on the world stage. Which is not to say, by the way, that women don't play a part in this. I want to say that, things like hookup culture, there are certain pockets in waves of feminism that over-encourage women to, be sexually promiscuous too. You get the idea that, there are some waves of feminism, not all. I think feminism has done some great things and some terrible things. But there are certain waves of feminism that almost require women to, work as hard as your dad and have sex like your brother, right? It's like, you work as hard as your dad and have sex as often as your brother. And those are male traits that are offered to women, I think, in a way that isn't entirely healthy. Correspond with me in the chat. Bro, I have to engage with more Sofia, Isella. I have to. I don't know what's next. That'll be up to you. Correspond with me in the comments. Thank you, by the way, to the PayPal patron who recommended this song. I'll be looking at the comments as well. I'm not just going to, I'm going to check to see what you guys like the most. So like and comment what should be next from Sofia, Isella. I want to ask a question, though, because it said, it's like, evolutionary biology, right? Feed, fight, flee, and reproduce, right? Reproduce is the fourth F. Feed, fight, flee, and reproduce, right? That's Nature Red in Tooth and Claw. I believe that's, I forget the author. But if reproduction is our main biological urge, maybe we shouldn't be surprised that if all of us are paying attention to screens and if the algorithm wants to increase user engagement, and if our main biological drive is to reproduce, then putting sex everywhere will cause users to engage more. Man, What a pertinent lesson. There are so many lessons in that, and I think the main one is just to kind of take your thoughts off autopilot, right? Think about your thoughts. That's called metacognition. How often in the life of your mind are you in a state of I'm the subject and everyone around me is an object to serve my ends?